going on, my people? Welcome back to Black Sheep. Today we are going to be discussing the process of basically doing the oil cooler and removing a turbo or turbos from your 6.4 liter Power Stroke diesel. So basically the hardest thing is going to be getting the bolts out of the back of the turbo. My take on this is that if they strip or break, you put yourself in a bad situation. Now, does that happen all the time? No, it doesn't. But I have had it happen to me on two different vehicles, or two different trucks. One, I had pulled the cab even before trying to attempt removing the turbo. A couple strip on me, but I was able to get them off with newer sockets. So anytime you're going to do this, I do recommend you buy brand new 10 mil sockets, and not expensive ones. Just go to Harbor Freight. I know they sell like a 10 mil pack. I mean, use that thing. If you destroy them, who cares? It doesn't matter. Take them back, throw them away, do whatever you want to do with them. But I do recommend getting some new 10 mil sockets, 1/4 inch, 3/8. I know that 10 mil kit has a bunch of different little things in it from Harbor Freight, and it'll work for the first job, but after that they're gonna be all, you know, worn out. So that's my recommendation on that. Wrenches, S-type wrenches, gear ratchet style wrenches, standard wrenches. 6-point box wrench will come in handy because the 12 point sometimes they will slip depending on what wrench you're using. You're gonna need a plethora of 10 mil tools to get in there and do some things that you want to. If you're doing this with the cab on and you're not lifting the cab, you're just getting to the nitty gritty. So that's how I do it. I don't take the cab off. I don't loosen bolts on the cab. I don't lift the front of the cab up a little bit. I don't do any of that because it's just more work that I want to really get into. And sometimes you have the bolts that the nut will slip and it'll start spinning, and sometimes it turns into a more crap than you want to deal with. So my take on this is do it the way it is. It's a little bit harder. The only thing you have to worry about is broken or stripped bolts, and my solution to that is getting a carbide burr with a right angle grinder, and if you have to, just get back there and shave the head off of that bolt that's either stripped. If it broke, well, it broke. That's good. You don't have to worry about it. You'll just deal with it when you get it out. But if it is stripped and you can no longer get a purchase on that hex head anymore, to get the torque on it to get it off, well, then use that carbide bit, grind that head off, and get it out of the way, and worry about it once you get it out of the truck. So the next thing would be doing the oil cooler, in which I did with this one. This one was a Mishimoto oil cooler. I've used the OEM Ford oil coolers before, and to get it back into the valley, it takes a little bit of maneuvering, and yeah, sometimes it's a pain, but with this Mishimoto one, it was interesting, to tell you the least. So with the Mishimoto one, I actually had to take the top portion off where the oil filter standpipe is. I had to take that off just to be able to slide it in enough to get the Mishimoto in. So do I recommend using a Mishimoto? It's up to you. I don't know if it's a fitment with the one that we got or what, but I would just stick with the Ford OEM. That way you know its dimensions are going to be as close as possible to what came out of it. So with this one, I've never had to do that before. I've always been able to get them back in, but this one was different. And what was different was it was an aftermarket brand. I think I've even used a Dorman one before, and I think it fit with no issue. I don't recommend using the Dorman one either. I recommend sticking with the Ford OEM part, and in most cases I don't usually always recommend using OEM stuff, but in this case I would, especially on the Ford side of it, so watch out with that. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and quit yapping. If you guys have any questions about any of this, again, like, subscribe, help the channel grow, help you guys out. You never know when one of my videos might be able to help you out. And that's kind of the point to all of this, is just to help out other people with what they're doing. So also be in most of my videos, just, you know, give you some good words from the good book. So today is going to be submit yourselves then to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you, guys. And if you want it, take it. If you don't, live your life. All right. So other than that, let's get into the video, guys, and we'll see you later. So basically, 2 strip bolts on the back of the turbo for the one for the driver's side, one for the passenger side, and I had to grind those down with a carbide burr and a right angle die grinder. And I also I went ahead and removed the EGR crossover tube, and I removed the driver's side up pipe. The driver's side up pipe, I had a nut strip out on that, so I had to cut that nut out also. Luckily, everything still has a little bit of stud left, except for one bolt that broke in the back of the turbo. Able to do this just by disconnecting the up pipes from the back of the turbo, the exhaust system, and all the fun stuff that goes with the turbo when it's connected to the engine. So crossover tube still had the original bracket on the back of the engine, which I hardly ever see that thing put back on. All the bolts and the nuts were extremely tight. But anyways, this is how I pull the turbos out of this truck. So I'm just at that point right now where I'm about to lift it out. Of course, everything is good to go. The turbos are loose. And usually what I do is I try to flip them like that. Lift up. Just use my foot to pump on the engine hoist. And here we go. And I'm caught on something on that side. Exhaust housing. Alright, so that's pretty much free. And once I'm out up there, I flip them back a bit. And I'll pull back and lift to clear everything else. But that's pretty much it. As you can see, there's the broken bolt. These I cut because they were stripped. This one wasn't stripped yet, but it wasn't budging. I mean, the shit, you can look, the gasket is still welded to the back of. Ridiculous. All this to do an oil cooler. Again, it's not the first one I've done. I've done a couple of them, but it's just it's a stupid job. It is completely ridiculous that they put an oil cooler in the engine valley. I've never understood that. I mean, idiots. I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, the engines, they get out of their own way when they're running right, and they do have power, they do have torque. So anyways, guys, I got new up pipes, put the new ones in. After I do that, put the turbo back in. That's about it for now, and I'll be back. So basically, I just wanted to show you guys something real quick. The next little tidbit here is once you pull the turbo and everything out of the way, you're gonna pull off the oil drain stand or oil drain manifold or whatever you want to call it. I know it's got a name, I just can't think of it right now. But anyways, your turbos sit on top of this. There's your other oil drain that sits in there, and it sits something like so there in the engine, and the turbos sit on top. The dowels to the turbo are right here. That's where the turbo will, both turbos will align themselves, and then you got the two 15mm studs with the half a hemisphere type situation going on up there for aligning purposes. So on this you have 6 bolts. Right here you have two 10 mils in the middle and 13s on the out. So your 10s are in the middle, 13s on the out, and then you have one in the center, and that center one is right there. But anyways, if you guys are doing an oil cooler, some people may take the intake off. Some people do, some people don't. And I'm leaving the intake on. So the cab is the way it is. I didn't lift it or anything like that. I've done it before like that. I've pulled the cab before. I've lifted the cab before, and it seems every once in a while you still run into an issue, and it's just still a pain in the butt. So this way I've figured, screw it, I'll get as many bolts out as I can. Usually they come out okay, sometimes they don't. And if they get stripped or they break, well, screw it, I'll take care of it when I pull the turbo out. And if they're stripped, then I take a right angle grinder with a carbide burr on it, and I grind the heads off of the back, and that way I don't have to worry about it. If you are pulling the oil cooler, all these bolts are pretty easy. The one that is a complete pain in the butt, and you're not even gonna be able to see it, I doubt it. It's down in there. You can see the hole to it right there. It's moving, but it's at an angle that is stupid anyway. If that bolt happens to be like gorilla tight, good luck. You may have to pull the intake. If you get lucky and it is normal human tight, well then you should be good to go. I usually go in with a universal, a 1/4 inch universal with a 10 mil on it, 1/4 inch 10, 1/4 inch universal, 1/4 inch extension, and then I'll have a 1/4 inch to 3/8 adapter, and then a 3/8 extension depending on where I'm at with it, and then I'll just hit it with ratchet, ratchet wrench, you know what I'm talking about, and go from there. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I've had one that, man, that thing was craziness. But anyway, so just a tip. And if you are going to pull it, you also are going to have to pull the oil filter, the oil pressure test port, and the test port is right there. You can see it sticking out. It's right there. You pull that out, and you should have enough room to tilt this thing and get it out of here without having to pull the intake, because pulling the intake is a lot more work, and I don't want to do that. So that's just the way I do it. So of course, loosen all this stuff. Loosen this. Cops are coming for me. Take the that bolt out of there so you can get this loose, because some of this stuff is going to have to move around. I usually loosen these on the filter housing, just so everything is movable. That's what you want. So make sure that nothing is still hard lined and super tight. But other than that, guys, like I said, if I come up with anything else, I'll let you know, and we'll see you there. Alright guys, so like I said, this is kind of the biggest pain in the ass when it comes to doing these things. I had 2 bolts that were stripped, so again I cut the heads off of those, and then I had one that just broke. Right now, I went ahead and heated all this shit up, waited a little bit, let everything kind of cool naturally. Not too long, but then I came back out and I tried to get these out with a stud remover, and whatever stud that I was grabbing onto broke. So these things are welded in there like hardcore, so now I'm gonna have to go ahead and start drilling. So I'll be doing that, and once I get some progress, I'll go ahead and I'll get back to you guys later. Alright guys, well, this is the aftermath of what's going on here. Broken bolt, and broken bolt. I was only able to extract one bolt. This is the one I got out of here. So I was able to weld the nut on this and this with, it took me like 15-20 minutes to work this all the way out, and it finally came out. The other ones were all fails. Fails. Every time they'd rock a little bit back and forth, but anytime you tried to get them to get some real pressure on them, they would just snap. So those were all of my attempts with one success. I was drilling out this one, and of course right at the very end I was almost through. Not quite yet, the drill bit broke inside. So that was fun. I pretty much destroyed like, I don't know, 5 to 10 drill bits. Finally at the end, there was just a thin layer of bolt left with the drill bit stuck in the middle of it, and it was about in the middle of this right here. That's where everything was sitting, because I went through this side to drill, and I went through this side to drill just to deal with the broken drill bit, and finally used the torch, got everything super cherry hot, and used my punch, as of course as you can see, to finally get the stupid drill bit out of there, and then got that out and was able to ream it out. And this one I'll decide what I'm going to do, threads or a through bolt or something. So tomorrow I'm going to finish off this one. I'm going to need to get some fresh drill bits, because all of my drill bits are, well, for this size anyway, are done. So yeah guys, that was the better part of a day dealing with this fun stuff, especially the broken drill bit. That was an hour and a half, 2 hours dealing with that. So this is the stuff I never see on any YouTube videos, people having problems like this, and usually my luck, I always get the problems. So anyways guys, that's what I did for these broken bolts. Like I said, usually the best way to go about this is you want to weld a nut onto the end of the stud like I did here, and if the stars align and the moon is in line with Venus, these should all come out, you know what I mean, the way they're supposed to. But I mean, as you can see, those threads there at the end are all gacked, and that's because I haven't even touched those. That's just what was in there. So no matter what, if I would have pulled the cab, I still would have had these bolts break, I guarantee it, because they were not moving. There's no way they would have broke. So then I would have done all that work to avoid doing this, still had the same issue, still had to pull turbos to try to repair this, and then I would have had the happiness of going back and putting the cab back on the truck. So anyways guys, that's about it for now. I'm gonna call it a day. I'll wait till tomorrow to get that other drill bit, and that's about it. Once I'm done with this, I think I filmed some of the welding. I didn't film any of the drilling or anything. That's just boring, monotonous crap. So I did film some of the
welding of the nut and stuff like that. I think I did. I gotta check. But anyways, guys, that's basically what you're gonna have to do. If something like this happens to you, good luck. You'll get it. It's just a pain in the ass, and you're gonna sit there and you're gonna have to take some time. And the only other thing I can think of if that happens to you is take it to a machine shop, take the housing off the turbo, take the housing to a machine shop, and they'll take it out. I mean, no issue. I'm sure they can do it, no problem. Which I'm not gonna do. It's all right. It's a buddy's truck. It's a friend of mine, and I'm not, you know, charging them full price for all of this. I told them to take my time with it. So that's basically where I'm at. But that's another choice you have. If something like that happens to you, you don't want to deal with it. You don't have the tools. You don't have a welder. You don't have a torch. Just take the housing and take it to a machine shop, and they should be able to get those bolts out and fix the threads and everything for you. It'd probably run you like $100-200, I'm sure, depending on the machine shop. I'm not sure, but anyways, that's something you can look into. All right, guys. Other than that, I'm out.
All right, what is going on, guys? I'm just finishing up the threads on this turbo, repairing the broken studs that refused to come out. Like I said, I was able to get one extracted. The other two were not going to move at all. So I went ahead and drilled out to a bigger diameter on this guy right here. I can get to see the threads or not. You should be able to. The stock thread is an M18 by 1.25 thread pitch, and I stepped it up to a 3/16 3/8-16. Let me see. Let me double check here. Yeah, 3/8-16 thread pitch. Yeah, I went from metric to standard, but it's just because those are the bolts I had on hand. So I got one more to do. I was just finally got past the bolt on this one, and I'm gonna start putting threads in it. Sorry, I gotta use my phone for this because my light went out. I think it did. Yeah, it's starting to. So that is basically what was left of the bolt that I extracted. That was all the way in the back, as you can see in the cavity in there. So anyways, guys, shit happens, and sometimes you have to deal with it. And this is a prime example of this. I've never had one break inside that couldn't be taken out, this being the first one. So as y'all can see, it happens. So either way, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it off at this. With the truck, all I have to do is put everything back together, and I mean, it's the same as reverse. There's nothing I can think of else. Oh, another thing I was gonna mention. See a lot of videos on the 6.4s and people talking about how people say it can't be done with the cab, but I mean, that's been going on for years. People have been doing it cab on for forever. So one thing that I have noticed is a lot of people saying you can't get the crossover tube out without lifting the cab. You can if you finagle it the right way. It's going to take some work, but if you get it just the right way with a little bit of persuasion with the pry bar, you can get it past the head and the valve cover with no issue. You just have to get it the right way. So that's just my 2 cents on that. But anyways, guys, got those threads in. This is the style of bolt basically that I'll be using. You can see the difference in diameter. So I mean, it still goes through the holes drilled in the up pipes, and that's all I was really worried about. So other than that, guys, I'm gonna fix those threads right there, or put threads in it, and call it a day. So
Other than that, guys, like, subscribe, comment, whatnot. If you have questions, just hit me up, and I'll get back to you. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.